Welcome to episode 2 of Digital Innovation Talks. My name is Magda Bakali and I will be your hostess today. I'm a junior researcher at Stimmuli for Social Change. Stimmuli is a social enterprise based in Thessaloniki, it's in the north part of Greece. So, Digital Innovation Talks is the theme of our AfriConEU Vidcast Series. For the ones wondering what a vidcast is, it is simply a podcast that contains video content. So the series includes 12 monthly episodes from April 2022 to March 2023. Each episode will explore a different topic related to the EU-African digital innovation hubs and startup ecosystems. For the ones who watch us for the first time, African EU is a project that aspires to create the first Trans-Continental Networking Academy to support African and European digital innovation hubs in capacity building, knowledge sharing, networking, collaboration, joint projects, and venture development. The project has received funding from the European Union's Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Programme and is implemented from February 2021 until January 2024. It involves 4 partners from Africa and 7 partners from Europe. So let's get started. The topic of our episode today is how can African and European startups collaborate to enter new markets? Let me introduce you to our guest for today, Gideon. Gideon Brefo is the Chief Executive Officer at HapaSpace, collaborative hub from Ghana. Welcome, Gideon. Could you tell us more about you and HapaSpace, please?
Thank you, Magda. I'm glad to be here, and greetings to all viewers. Like you rightly said, my name is Gideon Brefo and the CEO of HapaSpace. HapaSpace is located at Kumasi, that's the second capital of Ghana. And we basically run a co-working space, provide business support services, and then access to markets and funding opportunities to the startups in Kumasi and Ghana in general. So that's basically what we do.
That's great. Thank you, Gideon. So during the last few weeks, we got in touch with our community and followers, and we collected some interesting questions for you, Gideon. So let's see what the audience wants to know. I'm going to start with question 1. So does Africa's framework support and promote the cooperation between European and African startups? In which way?
Well, to a large extent, I would say yes, because there are a number of collaborative initiatives between the EU and then African governments or the African Union to promote such collaborations between startups and ecosystem support organizations from both continents. I can talk of probably 2 examples. The African Europe Innovation Partnership, which aims at connecting high quality tech hubs from both continents to explore opportunities and be able to collaborate for mutually beneficial partnerships. And then even when you look at the Smart Africa project, it is by the African governments that have signed up to that initiative, and that seek to also promote such collaborations between startups from both continents. And even with the digital innovation hubs that the Smart Africa project intends to establish, the aim is to mimic that of Europe. So clearly, we can agree that the framework, even though we are not there yet, but it's still supporting such collaborations.
Great, thank you. So the second question is there a framework where digital hubs can find resources and funding to promote collaborations?
Yes, even though they are limited. We can even think of the Horizon 2020 initiatives that focuses on Africa. Most of these are providing resources and promoting collaborations. We can even talk about the African EU project, which both hubs are part of the consortium. If you look at the Networking Academy session, that has a lot of resources for digital innovation hubs. One, to build their capacity, and then also provide opportunities for them to collaborate with their counterparts from both continents. There are also other opportunities. For example, there are a lot of events that also provide access to capacity building resources, and then also allow the attendees to also collaborate with each other.
And is there a platform that connects African and European startups to collaborate?
Well, I can think of a few. If you look at the African European Entrepreneurs Platform, I think it's African European Entrepreneurs.com. That provides an opportunity for startups, ESOs, and other support organizations to upload their profiles so that startups from either of the continents, either from the European side or the African side, to be able to look for such people, find them, and be able to connect with them. And then there's also another one called the community.stafrica.com. No, .de, because it's a German initiative. That also provides similar opportunity where people can also build their profiles and then be able to connect with others. But I must quickly add that we need a lot of such platforms, very comprehensive ones that most people can actually connect with and be able to collaborate with their counterparts from either side of the continents. Even for these two that I've mentioned, I found about them very recently. So what that means is that when such platforms are built or created, we need to really promote them, because if it's for the innovators from the different continents to be able to connect and collaborate on such platforms, then they should be aware of them. So I think that the awareness is also on the low side, and so it should really be promoted. But beyond the digital platform, there are other events like I can think of the AfriLabs annual gathering that also provides opportunity for the attendees to be able to connect with each other. And we also have Tech in Ghana conference that happens both in Ghana and then also in the UK, where startups and then ecosystem support organizations from both continents are able to also connect. There are others, but I think there should be more of these to help facilitate the collaboration between these two continents.
It's great to hear your inputs and your view on this. Thank you, Gideon. I'm going to move forward with the next question. So is Africa a breeding ground for African and European startups to develop their services?
I think that would be a big yes, because one, it is an emerging continent and it has a lot of natural resources as well. I think most researchers have also stated that Africa boasts of a lot of young population that are growing. And so that actually opens up opportunities for a lot of developmental projects, a lot of innovations that can go on. Not to also overlook the fact that comparatively between the two continents, Europe is more matured, Africa is still developing. And so I think I dare say that the ecosystem in Europe is kind of saturated. But in Africa, there are a lot of opportunities because we have a lot of problems here that need solutions. And so it becomes a breeding ground for innovation. And then for those that even have innovative solutions in Europe, it's an opportunity for them to enter into the African market, maybe just with a few tweaks here and there, it will become useful in the African market. And they can be able to penetrate it and be able to grow faster. I can also think about um, some other initiatives that have already taken place that also paves way for such innovation to happen. The African Free Continental Trade Agreement among the governments in Africa is also enabling innovative ideas to freely flow to other markets in Africa. So that makes it easier and makes it fertile for any innovation that we can think of. The Smart Africa project is also doing same. And then now in most of the African countries, the government is becoming interested in the entrepreneurial landscape. And so we even see that a number of them are coming up with startup acts. In Ghana, for instance, now it is drafted. Nigeria is working on one. Tunisia already has their own. And so we can say that yes, Africa is a breeding ground for such innovations.
Great. Thank you for giving us so many examples. And since we are on the topic, so what are the challenges that African and European startups face in their collaboration?
Well, I think that there are cultural differences because people have grown up or developed in different environments, and that shapes the way we do things. And so that cultural barriers also hinders the collaboration. Um, in Europe, we know that it is a very advanced economy, and so a lot of things are standardized. In some of the African countries or environments or ecosystems, things are not well structured. We are working on them. And so sometimes when you have a startup from Europe having to collaborate with a startup in Africa, that differences sometimes work against such collaboration. So there's a need to support the African startups to also develop such standardized operations and be able to also see things from that perspective. And then those from Europe also understanding the landscape of Africa and knowing how they can also adapt. So that can also help. Another major problem is access to funding. Access to funding is also a major challenge because in Africa, um, the few VCs that we have in Africa are targeting the very high bracket kind of funding, but we have a lot of startups that are also in the very low bracket space, and there's no funding opportunities for such ones, and it makes it difficult for them to develop themselves to the point where they can collaborate with others to advance what they do. And then I think that we don't also have, like I've already said previously, a lot of digital platforms that serves as a, a point of convening these startups so that they can talk among themselves and see who they can collaborate with, who they can work with. And so these gaps in standards and lack of convening platforms and access to funding, I think, major challenges facing African and European startups that want to collaborate.
So that leads us to my last question for today. Gideon, so which industry is more profitable for African and European startups to enter?
Um, well, what is popping up straight away is the technological industry, but I want to look at that as just an enabler. So I will mention that. So I think that I'll go in for agriculture and health. I'm not advising that maybe European startups that are interested in Africa should come and get a land and farm here. There are a lot of farmers in the rural areas in Africa, but I think that we have a lot of gaps in the value chain. And so we can use technology. Startups that are interested can use agri-tech to solve most of these gaps, because we have a lot of agricultural products that go waste on farmlands, because they don't even have any connection from the farmlands from the time of harvest to the various homes or the various markets where this will be useful. Another area is the health tech. Now, I think COVID has taught us a lesson that we we cannot simply always go to the hospitals to receive health care. And so people that are connecting patients with doctors through digital platforms are also making a lot of impact. And that's one way that startups can take a look at.
That's great. Sounds so interesting. Do you have anything to add before we close for today that we would like to share with our audience?
Yes. So I'll say that the need for a stronger collaboration between the European and African startups is very ripe. There are a lot of opportunities for the startups in the advanced ecosystems like Europe. Um, have opportunities in Africa if they collaborate with startups here. Much the same way the African startups can learn a lot from the startups in the advanced countries that will help them to also grow and advance in whatever they do.
Great. Thank you very much, Gideon, for all your comments. And so that was episode 2 of Digital Innovation Talks, the AfriConEU Vidcast Series. Thanks so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and stay up to date. Stay tuned for the next episode.